people, I guess, are a little bit scared to do like anti-establishment jokes or religious jokes, but nobody's afraid to do sexist or casteist jokes. Like, it's okay, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world to offend somebody.
Hello and welcome to the DeadAnt ChatRoom. This is your host Bhanush Kapil, and joining us today is expert intern and stand-up comedian Manaal Patil. Welcome to the show, Manaal.
Hi guys, hello, thank you for having me here.
So, Manaal, for those of our viewers who don't know your work, can you give us like a 10-second elevator pitch?
I'm a comedian. I tell jokes. Mostly currently tell Dalit jokes because I'm a Dalit also. So, yeah.
First, you've been doing comedy for 5 years or so. What inspired you to get up on the stage?
Watching, like, I saw Russell Peters and Jerry Seinfeld when I was around 15 years old. And I wanted to do what they were doing. So, and I started going to open mics at the age of 17. So, 2 years I was just a comedy watcher.
What was your experience like when you started going to these open mics? Did you initially sort of start with making jokes about caste, or did that come later?
It did not come too much later. I had one caste joke when I began, and that was at the age of 17. But it was just one joke. But then over the years, I extended that one joke into around like 10-15 minutes. So, and I'm still doing more of. I'm still trying to build more material on this subject.
And when you started off doing with that one joke and then building on that, like I've seen the one, this is the only one video online where you have the quota reservations joke, which is quite funny. But did you hesitate before addressing caste in your work? Were you concerned that you'd either be typecast or, become the caste comedian, which has happened to a lot of say musicians and people in other forms who bring this sort of activism into their work?
Yeah, when my material started developing and it was doing well, and like people are putting up YouTube videos and all, I was just and I my material mostly was cast only. So it was like I was a little bit identity crisis. Am I a comedian first or am I a Dalit comedian? Because I was not even that informed about the issues. I just knew that I'm from this, and whatever jokes I made were uh, uh, like propagating Dalit stereotypes. It wasn't very well informed. It's still not that well informed, but I'm trying to. So yeah, that identity crisis was there about being a Dalit or being a comedian.
And did you have any worries about how the rest of the scene would take it? Like, were you worried about either discrimination or just, lack of opportunities because of that?
No, I was not initially when I started doing it. I was not worried or hesitant about it. I was just doing it as something that is like it's me getting laughs, so I'm doing it, and I'm being honest while doing it. So yeah.
And how did people within the scene, especially since the sort of Indian comedy scene is very still dominated by a fairly Savarna elite, how did they respond to the stuff you're doing? Did you receive encouragement?
Initially, quite a lot, but then over the at some point, people were like, "Is this all you have? Like, can't you explore more topics? Like, this has become stale or whatever." So yeah, I mean, I did not have any inhibitions per se. Ki people will do discrimination against me, but it just happened so that it happened. Like I was not scared that it will happen, but I actually did not even expect it to happen. But then it did happen. Like where I was like denied stage time from quite a few venues for various reasons. One of them being that do some new material.
And so last year you got a bit of attention when there was a casteist joke by an Indian comedian, and then there was a series of call-outs for against other comedians also for similar material. And what I noticed was a lot of like even when people did apologize, it was very much I don't know what I did wrong, but here have an apology type of thing. Why do you think it's so difficult for Savarna comedians to understand why these jokes may be offensive to people?
Because they are not well informed about this. Like we're not properly taught about it in school. We're given a very surface level understanding of it, and then Also, like most of these comedians are from like well-to-do families, good cities, so they don't see in front of their eyes like untouchability, or maybe they do. Like it's just that they are not informed, and I don't think anybody like writes a joke thinking I want to offend. I mean, even if they do, like, I mean, I don't think that's. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I just think they're not well informed, and no, even I wasn't. Even I still am on the process of informing myself. So you can't blame them. Like, I mean, you can't blame them for trying to be funny. Like, I did not personally get offended at Neville Shah's joke. I just rode in on the Twitter wave, like, and it was fun. That's all.
So, do you think this increasing criticism from the margins, for jokes that are casteist or sexist or transphobic, do you think it's made comedians more aware of these problems and more sensitive to these issues? Or do you feel their response has largely been to sort of blow them off and act like it's your right to make offensive jokes?
Well, I don't think I mean, people, I guess, are a little bit scared to do like anti-establishment jokes or uh, religious jokes, but nobody is afraid to do sexist or casteist jokes. Like, I mean, they will not probably put it up online, but
How have audiences responded to your jokes, which sometimes call their own sort of caste privilege into question?
audiences usually till now have enjoyed only whatever they've heard. A few people somewhere might have gotten offended. It's okay, like, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world to offend somebody.
And have there been any surprising or sort of inspirational response from audiences that make you think that you're doing something right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So this is an interesting story, right? Which once happened to me at an open mic in Chamber, where I did my Dalit material. It went really well, and it was mostly an English set. And at the end of my set, I said Jai Bhim. After the show, a person, like, he walked up to me, like he looked like he had some beef with me, like, that I was talking about those things. So at first I thought he would be some right wing person who has gotten offended, and he's like, how can you say these jokes and all. But when he actually came and spoke to me, right, he spoke to me in Marathi, so he does not understand English at all. He was like, one of the staff there who did not understand English, but he only understood the word Jai Bhim, and so he came to just say Jai Bhim to me in person also. And I was trying, so that's when I realized, oh, it's not some right wing person. It's another fellow Dalit like me. Like, did you feel bad that I'm making jokes about caste and all? So he said no, no, no. He like, you should, like, I felt proud to see another person like me, coming in like in public and saying Jai Bhim. He's like, you don't get to see that like in your strata of society. and and he told me a lot about like his life, my life, and he just like so there have been a lot of instances like this, where other Dalit people have walked up to me and felt represented in some, like in comedy at least, like, they have something to relate to and laugh with, like, that's what sort of like keeps me going, even if I'm not making money through comedy or anything, is that if I can make people feel like that, like it's special, like, for me and for the other person.
And speaking of representation, you've been touring across the country with a show called Blue Material within all Dalit lineup. So tell me about the show and what got you guys to come together and put it together.
Okay, so Blue Material comedy show of and featuring an all Dalit lineup, where every comedian is a Dalit. Yeah, so how it came to be is that initially I was not getting a lot of spots, right? Like, I was not, even if I was getting spots, there was a lot of bullshit that goes on in to get that. Okay, and even if I was getting spots, I was not getting extended amount of time, like, I was limited to, like, I don't know, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, max. That's what I would get if I got. And when I started off, I was the only Dalit comedian, so I was not able to grow my material and build my material, because they have, like, I was denied a lot of spots, saying that I should come up with something new, right? But everything that I would try to write had an element of caste in it. Like, it was just coming to me. Okay, so so I was not like, I spent a lot of like a good chunk of my journey till now, deciding whether should I do Dalit material or should I even think about it? Is it worth doing that if I'm not getting spots? Should I try to impress the gatekeepers of comedy through like non-Dalit material, like But then by the time it was like 2020, right? Uh, I had met a few Dalit comedians here and there. Like somebody from Bangalore came to Mumbai, like and did a spot. I was like, oh, we are also Dalits. And somebody from Beed and Mayur, he's a comic from Mumbai only. He has worked with Bhadipa and all. And then Ravi started in 2020, I guess 2020, 2019. And me and Ravi met in 2020 and we became like regular buddies, like, like the Dalit jokes became very often between me and him. And so we were like, we both have like around 10-15 minutes of material. If you, me, Mayur get together, we can pull off a 1 hour show. Like, we don't have to do an hour straight. We can still, because this will sell also. Like, because I had already gotten some traction on Twitter, right? So I was like, and with the traction, usually comics like put their own solo shows, but I did not have that much of material to do. So to fill in the time gap, I contacted Ravi and Mayur, and then since it started in Feb 2022, and until now, a lot of other comedians have also like there were a lot of Dalit comedians who were already in the scene, but were not probably vocal about it, like but when they heard about this, they came up to me. I'm also Dalit, and then I saw their material, like and so then there were more additions which came in, like Ankur. First it was me, Mayur, and Ravi, and then Sumer came in, Sumer More, Ankur Tangade, Manjeet Sarkar, and there are a few more other comedians who are Dalits, but they are not even willing to like publicly come out as Dalit, like even to the scene or something, like So yeah, those people are not part of it yet, but this is how that's what I hope for Blue Material to do, is to be like a platform for like to make entering comedy and being in comedy a little bit easy for Dalit comedians. But I don't know how I'll do that. Like for now, it's just a tour between me, Mayur, Ravi, and everybody else.
No, it was interesting that you said that there were comedians who weren't out as a Dalit. I mean, I think Yashika Dutt has written a whole book about it, but in media and music, you have the same sort of issues happening. And so, how has the response been from the audience? Like, obviously, it's gathered some response from comedians that they're coming and saying, okay, this has given us a platform to be publicly Dalit, to identify as Dalit. Like, but how has the response from the audience been for this tour?
Largely amazing. Like we had, I mean, almost all shows we have done till now have been sold out. We had 3 sold out shows in Pune on the same day, like 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., and that's something cool, like So that means the audiences want to watch it and they're coming for it. We have had repeat audiences also. So yeah, like the audiences. I mean, there have been a few people who have probably gotten offended and all. But come on, man, like, what can you do? Like, you can't please everybody.
And the trailer that I saw on, I think, Instagram hinted at some difficulties in putting up shows because it deals with anti-caste humor. Was that a problem, especially with Blue Material?
Yeah. In Goa, right? So personally, I faced like n number of issues regarding this. But Blue Material as a show, in Goa we had booked a venue, right? Everything was sorted. They just the final thing was they were like, just let us see some clips of the stand-up material that you guys are doing, and then I sent them my video, and we explained to them that this is going to be a cast comedy show, all the lineup and all, and that's when they backed out of it. Like they were like, when it was just like there's a comedy show, Mumbai comedians are coming there, they were on board, but when they found out that we are Dalit comedians who are going to do Dalit material, they were not willing to keep the show in their venue. So yeah, that happened once.
So, how do you respond to these sort of setbacks?
Just by going on with your business, like whatever it is, just keep doing what you do at some other place, if not that there.
So, what else are you busy with? You said you got over 15 minutes of material, either writing a full hour or planning anything else.
So with Blue Material, right, when I got extended stage time, where I had 30 minutes to play around with and all, so I have now developed 40 minutes of material, like, and I do my solo also. It's called Chand Pe Leke Chalo.
Okay.
Anyways, so it's just the same material what I do at Blue Material. It's just 10 more minutes in my solo, trial solo, and now currently I was getting a lot of difficulty with spots in Mumbai. Right, you have to pay for a spot, you have to get a +1 with you, and on top of that, you have these some venues have these content restrictions. Uh, so with all these barriers to entry, right? Even though I've been doing it for so long, I moved to Bangalore now. So I've got a job in Bangalore. I'm working as a copywriter, and yeah, I've been. I mean, it's been only 2 3 days since I've been in Bangalore. I've done 2 3 mics here, and it's been fun. Bangalore is a much nicer comedy scene than Mumbai.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have today. But before we go, one last question. It's been a rough year for a lot of different reasons. What is one sort of hope, one thing that you hope changes in the Indian comedy scene in 2023?
I hope people start coming to comedy shows the way they used to pre-pandemic. Even like it's gotten better, but I hope that I mean just not in 2023. Like I just hope in general people develop the culture of watching comedy, even if they don't know the comedian, even though it's not a famous face. Just the idea of going to a comedy club, having a laugh, and probably getting offended, but that's and being okay with that. I don't know, man. Like I want comedy to like grow, and I think even like when there are all women lineups or all the lineups or any like it's just a good way to make comedy grow. Like it sells tickets also because we are not crowd pulling faces, but they have come there for the idea of comedy, a certain like whatever is their niche. So I think there should be more of such. I hope more Dalit comedians enter the space, and I hope there are more female Dalit comedians. Right now, there's one that I know of, Ankur Tangade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good wish list. Thank you so much, Manaal. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys.